Berger, a senior clinical psychologist, supervisor, and group analyst. She is the former co-chairperson of the Israeli Institute of Group Analysis and one of its co-founders. She was the initiator and the co-founder of the residency program for clinical psychologists in Hamcha Tel Aviv and its first chief psychologist. Her professional experience includes therapy and supervision of post-traumatic states in various clinical and socio-political settings. She has published a number of papers in the psychoanalytical journals and contributed various chapters to books pertaining to areas of the above interests. Miriam.
Shalom. I would like to thank both Uri and Luci for their wonderful presentations. I was thinking that, it's needless to say that, but still to present intimate work in front of 450 people is really vulnerability training in action. I was really asked to comment on Luci's case. That's in service of having a dialogue between our different perspectives. So I'll do just that in the few minutes that I have, and I hope we'll be able to go on and discuss all those rich points further when we just talk. Folks, and I want to say that I want to present just one point from Luci, whom I am going to call Dr. Laor, because this is meaningful, from the perspective of some aspects of group analysis. Fuchs, the father of group analysis, states in many papers that group therapy simply brings back the problems to where they belong. This is a quote, by which he means that the community is represented in the treatment room. However, the influence of this community on one's relationships with self and others is often unacknowledged and unrecognized. Following this idea, I'll refer to just one episode that Dr. Laor emphasizes and try to point out the unconscious impact that the real context in which this relationship is taken place has on shaping its dynamics. In recent years, this impact is explored more extensively and is defined as the working of the social unconscious, which is really a very important aspect of the group analytic perspective. In short, I suggest that the military culture with its norms, hierarchies, built-in power structures, and dichotomies permeates the relationship in many unconscious ways, no less than the interpersonal entanglements of transference and countertransference. To begin with, Dr. Laor tells us Gil is a chosen patient. What could that mean, rather in insidious and hidden ways? On the one hand, being chosen is a privilege. It singles out Gil as special, desirable, stronger. I suggest that in the army, it can even have some survival value. It is a safeguard against being left out, dismissed, excluded. For Gil, the newly appointed young officer, who probably had experienced a lot of painful struggles concerning his sexual identity, the belonging to an elite military regiment is a lifeline. On the other hand, being chosen both as an officer and a valuable patient can become a double-edged sword. While it raises great expectations, it also hides great vulnerabilities. To become in touch with feeling small, helpless, in need of love and appreciation can be especially threatening in a military context. It endangers his identity as a competent, self-sufficient officer, as well as his chance to become a chosen patient. If he was chosen because of his intellectual abilities, and brilliance, how can he afford to become weak, helpless, and needy? Thus, openness may endanger his chance for a healing relationship. How can this big man be simultaneously in touch with his bigness and smallness? Dr. Laor struggles with similar questions, although his position is very different. How is he going to reconcile the role of a responsive therapist with the role of the surgeon? We were talking a lot about Freud's image about the surgeon. How can he be the expert, the objective consultant who evaluates needy patients when he turns down some and prefers others? How can he manage to stay emotionally available at the same time and be at the same time a professional authority? The automatic solution is dissociation. It's an instinctive defensive measure against disintegration, and it's played out in the relationship time and again, in any relationship, as a matter of fact. Group, family, relationships, just normal relationship. But that's not for the 3 minutes that I'm allotted. The first episode, Dr. Laor defines as an empathic failure, is an excellent example of a dissociative interaction. He invites Gil to meet him a few times to see how compatible they are, and is amazed that Gil feels he is put to a test. Somehow, the asymmetric character of this relationship has been overlooked. Dr. Laor seems oblivious to his own bigness, while Gil seems oblivious to his size as well. He shrinks in size. He becomes a small object that has no say and no choice. Oh. I would perceive those empathic failures that really are the core of any therapeutic process. I would perceive them as vital emotional communicative messages. They are enactments that carry meaningful encoded information about vulnerabilities that are dissociated and split off from the shared space. In my view, Dr. Laor's sense of failure in these instances, he points out 3 instances, but I won't go into them. He was very clear and elaborate about them. They are unconscious, but they point to ruptures of human needs both of them have undergone. Their legitimate longings for interdependence, reciprocity, and mutuality were probably discredited and dismissed along the way. These failures, when accepted and understood, may also become the royal road to connection and healing. In my fantasy, I envisioned both of them, Dr. Laor and his patient, I envisioned them as group participants. Thus, in a group, their emphatic failures would resonate with others that were undergoing similar experiences in real time. Maybe this resonance and mirroring, as Fuchs termed them, could facilitate a way out of some sticky complementarities that really create stalemates in the therapy. One such sticky complementarity I can think of, and I would like to be able to discuss a little bit further, is the ethical dilemma that I sense around the issue of the taking or not taking the HIV tests. I have a feeling that the group space would be a good container to really deal with this kind of complexity. That much for now. Thank you.